Hello my crafty friends, and welcome to another clean and simple card making video. Today I'm going to use this sketch from our June sketch booklet. You can download the sketch booklet sketches from a link in this video's description, and there are instructions on how to make the booklet itself in another video which I will link down below too. So today I'm going to use one of the dice that I made in Mojo May to choose some colours. So we'll give it a roll. That's shaded lilac, so we're looking at purple. Let's see if we can roll another colour that will work nicely with it. Yes, that is blue. I think that's tumbled glass, but it's a light blue, so we'll put light blue. So they'll work nicely together because purple and blue are near each other on the colour wheel, which means you can blend them without the risk of making mud, and layer them as well. I might bring in a third colour that contrasts with that, but I might do that with a metallic because I'm thinking there's a star here and that's going to look nice in metallic, but we'll just see how we get on. So we'll start with purple and light blue. I've chosen two Catherine Pooler inks, It's a Boy, which is a blue, and Sweet 16, which is a violet, both from the Party collection, which are kind of brighter inks. And I think I'm just going to swipe the purple on this bit of mixed media paper for now. This is a really quick way of getting lots of ink down. It looks blotchy, but as it dries and soaks into the paper, it will smooth out a bit. Now I'm going to cut 3 stitched banner die cuts from this. The banners on my sketch are short, they're not as long as this, so I want to chop these down a bit. So I'm going to place these on a bit of post-it tape, getting them lined up along the top because I want them all to be the same length. What you can do to be really accurate is use an edge. I'm using my scoreboard and pushing my banners up against each other and up against the edge of the scoreboard. You could maybe use a stamp positioner for this, anything with a bit of a lip. So they should all be nicely in line there. And then I can take the same banner die and place it on top of my banners where I want to chop them. And now I can run these through my die cutting machine. And now I've got 3 banners that will sit nicely there-ish in a straight line on the front of my card. So I'm going to take some more tape. You can do it this way rather than the way I just showed you. Push them up against an edge and each other, and then take a bit of tape and place it down on them like that. And now they're all lined up again. And I've got an embossing folder here, and I want to emboss some stars, having the pattern go across the 3 banners continuously, which is why I've butted them up like that. But what I want to do is colour the stars with the blue ink. I've got a nice clean brayer here, and I'm going to add the Catherine Pooler ink. It's a bit tricky with such a small ink pad, but you can get the ink all the way around, and you can see when it's inked up because it is shiny. I'm going to run that over a portion of the raised stars. So these should emboss the colour into the dips that the stars make. I just want to get everything ready before I put my banners on. So we'll put the banners on here and then close that and make sure not to move it, and then run that through. So hopefully now we've got some blue embossed or debossed or indented stars, which we have. Before I take them off their washi tape, I'm going to give them a little spritz with this white shimmer spray. Not too much, I just want them to have a little shimmer. And I'll dry that with my hairdryer. These are going to go on here. I've got my rule of thirds acetate grid here just to help me lay things out. These are going to go here, sort of straddling that top 3rd line there. That one will be in the middle. So now we want a star here and a sentiment over to the left. So I'm thinking gold for my star, Purple and yellow are opposite each other on the colour wheel, which means they're complementary colours. If you try and mix them, you'll get a neutral, muddy grey colour. But if you put them next to each other, they actually bring out the best in each other. So gold is close to yellow, so it will go really nicely with the purple there. I'm going to put a bit of card over this, not because it needs extra help cutting through, just to protect this part of the star from scratches in my cutting plate. So I think that works well there, and it's similar in proportion to this setup here. For my sentiment, I'm thinking about You're the Best. I think this white on black is probably a bit too bold for the pastel colours, but this one I think will work if I cut it out nicely. So I've used my usual stitch rectangle and cut it so it's to the left of the rectangle, because I intend to stick it under the star, so it doesn't need to be the right size. That little bit is hidden, and I think that works. So because everything slips around on acetate, I'm just going to make a little mark where I roughly want to put my middle star. Make sure I've got the right one. I said star, didn't I? I meant rectangle. Right, so I put some high-tack white glue on the back. I've got my T-square ruler here, which will help me get it straight. I'll pop that on and just check if it needs shuffling over. Yes, it does. So let's bring it over here and we can check it again with the T-square ruler. So I've put some 1mm deep foam tape on the back of my star, and I'm going to pop it here. It's not bang on that intersection, I don't think, but it's more or less there. And I put it on foam tape because I want to put this underneath, but I will chop off a little bit at the end so it makes it easier for me to tuck it under. These sentiments that I'm using today, all right Mr. Blackbird, are free to download. You can get those from a link in this video's description. Maybe a tiny bit more. No, I think that will do. So I've just used a scrap of the gold card and cut some teeny tiny little gold stars. And I think I'm just going to dot those around. I'm going to have them the same way up each time, or try to. Right, there you go, another clean and simple card. Really pleased with the way this one turned out. I like the colour combination, I like the texture from the embossing folder and the different colour there, and the gold really pops, and I do like the little extra stars that I added. Always like a bit of smattering or spattering, gives it some energy, because clean and simple cards can look a bit static because there's not as much going on as if you were covering the whole card in something, but just having some little things scattered around gives it that energy, like I say. Right, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. I hope you've gleaned an idea or two. If you have, please do let me know in the comments, and if you'd like to see more from me, subscribe and ring the notification bell, and I'll see you back here very soon for another video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.